of the earth is getting shrinked. In other words, that this earth is getting smaller, and the present size of the earth is 100 times smaller than the size of it at its beginning. But why it is getting smaller? How is it getting smaller? This yet no one knows, but it is getting smaller. This has become an established scientific fact. Regarding this, the Qur'an clearly says in Surah Riyadh, verse number 41, that see they not how we are reducing the earth gradually from its all sides. Now here the Quran is clearly saying that this earth on which we live is getting smaller. If we give a sharp look to this verse, the first line of this verse is saying that see they not, means have they not seen. It means there is something extraordinary important for the humankind which mankind is unable to realize. And actually, there is something very important. And that is what? That this verse is giving us a scientific proof for Day of Judgment. That's how? Because since the volume of the earth is getting smaller, this earth is getting smaller, so the mass which is present inside the earth, the pressure on that mass is increasing. In other words, as much the volume of the earth is decreasing, that much the mass in the earth is increasing. So it is resulting in the formation of heat. The heat is increasing, and then in future there will be a stage that will come. At that stage the tolerance of the mass inside the earth will be finished, and then there will be an explosion. This mass will burst out and this whole earth will be finished. And this will occur in the formation of earthquakes, boiling of oceans, filling of smoke in atmosphere, disintegration of mountains. Means the mountains will crush down, the land will be in two pieces, the water in the oceans and the rivers will start boiling up, and this whole earth will be collapsed. So this is what pointed out from the glorious Quran. So for those also who do not believe in a Day of Judgment, this is a scientific proof for them if they are ready to face the truth. The water cycle. In 7th century BC, Thales of Miletus thought that they had a wrong theory about the water cycle, and the theory was that surface spray of the oceans was picked up by the wind and carried inland to fall as rain. Now this theory is the wrong theory, because in this theory no evaporation is mentioned and no clouds are mentioned, which are the very important factors for the water cycle. And it was Bernard Palissy in 1580, he described the water cycle process, modern water cycle concept, for the very first time in 1580. What he described? Let us see in this video.
The water cycle, also known as the hydrologic cycle, consists of 4 main stages. Storage serves as the first stage. The ground, oceans, lakes, rivers, ice caps, and glaciers all store water. Water then evaporates from the earth and condenses into clouds. Evaporation replenishes the water in the atmosphere that is lost in precipitation. After water vapor condenses into clouds, the water precipitates back to earth. Precipitation types include rain, snow, ice pellets, and hail. Water that flows down streams and rivers is surface runoff.
In other words, the theory of Bernard Palissy, which we read in our daily classes, that the water first of all evaporates from the ocean and the rivers. It goes up, it makes clouds there, it is condensed, and after that rain flows from the up, and it goes under the ground also. So the process is continued. The glorious Quran speaks in great detail about water cycle. It says in Surah Al-Nur, verse number 43, that seest thou not that Allah makes the clouds move gently, then joins them together, then makes them into a heap. Then will those see rain issue forth from their midst, and he sends down from the sky mountain masses of clouds, wherein is hail. He strikes therewith whom he pleases, and he turns it away from whom he pleases. The vivid flash of his lightning well nigh blinds the sight. And another place, in Surah Al-Rum, verse number 48, it says that it is Allah who sends the winds and they raise the clouds. Then does he spread them in the sky as he wills, and break them into fragments until those ceased raindrops issue from the midst thereof. Then when he has made them reach such of his servants as he wills, behold, they do rejoice. Not only this, even in Surah Al-Zumar verse number 21, in Surah Al-Hijr verse number 22, in Surah Al-Rum verse number 24, in Surah Al-Mulk verse number 30, in Surah Al-Mu'minun verse number 18, and in several places the glorious Qur'an speak in great detail about the water cycle. And this all it has informed us at that time when people had a very wrong concept of water cycle. So let's move forward. Animals and birds live in communities. Today's modern research tells us that the animals and birds, they all live in a community style as the humans do live. They work together, they live together, they organize, they eat, and they do everything together as we humans do. Like we have a family setup, like we have a friend setup, like we have a social setup. So similarly, these animals and the birds are also having the same sort of setups. Regarding this, the Quran says that in Surah Al-In'am, verse number 38, that there is not an animal that lives on the earth, nor a being that flies on its wings, but forms part of communities like you. Now this one verse is clearly saying that they live in a community style as we humans are living. So just imagine 1400 years ago in the deserts of Arabia, who would have even bothered to know that whether all the birds and all the animals, they live in a community system or in an individual system, which scientists were able to discover in the 20th century. And even if any person would have intended to do this research at that time, he would not be able to do this, because at that time there was not that much advanced communication transport system as much advanced we are today having. When only this advanced community and transport system, scientists were able to do this research, and they found this amazing fact that all the animals and all the birds live in a community system, which glorious Quran has already informed at that time when people were unable to do any of such researches. And the glorious Quran is talking about all the animals, whether they live on the peak of the mountains or in the depth of the oceans, they all live in a community system as we humans do live. The flight of birds. Now this is a very interesting fact. It is interesting because it happens around us and we normally do not observe it and we ignore it. And this is about that the birds which we see around us, these birds can fly long and long journeys, and even journeys that thousands and thousands of kilometers. And not only this, after traveling from one place to another place and staying there for a particular time period, they even come back to their exact positions on their definite dates. So how